What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Zero Lab. Today we're going to be playing some TCG Pocket, and we're going to be looking at an Alakazam Weezing deck that we've put together. And first we're going to just kick it off by looking at that deck list. So obviously here we have a 2/2/2 Alakazam line, and the Alakazam, for a Psychic and 2 colorless, has the Psychic attack that does 60 plus 20 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's going to take us a while to get this Alakazam up and running, but it has a pretty powerful attack once we do. And so we also have the Weezing in here with that gas leak ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon poisoned. Then it has Tackle for a dark energy that does a 30. So we're kind of stalling the game with this Weezing because we also have our Koga here. Put a Mucker Weezing in the active spot into your hand, so you can basically pick that Weezing up and heal all the damage off of it, and then put another Weezing back in the active as you are powering up your Alakazam to sort of sweep later in the game. Finishing off the deck list, we have 1 Giovanni, 2 Sabrina, 2 Research, a Potion, 2 Pokeballs, and that is about it. So we are going to go here and jump into some games here on the ladder and see what we can do with this Alakazam Weezing deck. And our opponent is found here, and we'll see who is going first. All right, so Tails here, that means we are going to be going second. That is fine with me. Starting here with an Abra, not a great hand. So hopefully we top deck Coughing, Research, something like that. But we'll see what our opponent is playing. And they have the Articuno EX. So this is going to be that Misty Articuno deck. We'll see if they play the Starmie as well. Looks like they are playing a Pokeball here. That's probably going to find them a Staryu, maybe? Nope, it's going to be a Snom. So they have the Frosmoth in here. Unfortunately, our top deck is nothing good, sadly. So we're just going to end our turn here and hope for the best. See what our opponent's doing. Evolving into that Frosmoth. That Frosmoth, it does have Powder Snow for 40, and then it puts your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. All right, we did top deck a Coughing here, so that is good. We're going to attach to that Coughing. And then I think we're just going to try to stall here with Sabrina a little bit. And we're just going to teleport into that Coughing. So we'll see what our opponent is able to put together here. Do they have a way to retreat out of the active spot? They do, with an attach return, but it looks like they're going to just attach return to the benched Articuno and pass. So we'll get an energy attachment down here, and then I'm just gonna Suffocating Gas with the Coughing. Unfortunately, we didn't find the Weezing or Kadabra to get things sort of moving here. That means our deck is pretty stacked with good cards that we want to see, but our hand is pretty bad right now. So our opponent finds another Snom here. They can now retreat out of this Frosmoth if they want to, but they're just going to attach return to that Articuno. All right. So we're going to Pokeball here. Hopefully we find another Coughing. We do. Sadly, though, this means that our opponent's just going to be able to retreat, like attach retreat next turn. If we Sabrina now, they're just probably going to give us the Snom. So we're just going to Suffocating Gas on the Frosmoth and see what they do here now. Obviously, they can attach retreat and just start attacking with Articuno with that Blizzard attack. And that's going to be tough for us to deal with, given we have not found any of our evolutions or our Research, and they're going to play a Research now. We've got 10 cards left in deck. They've got 6. So that is not a good sign. That means they've been drawn through their deck much better than we have. Articuno EX into the active here. Going to Blizzard onto our Coughing, do 10 to each of our benched Pokemon. That's going to knock out our Coughing and put us in a tough position here. Going to send up our other coughing. Hopefully we can find a Weezing, and we finally do find a Weezing. However, still no Kadabra, and that is pretty annoying because we do have the Alakazam in hand. But we are going to Gas Leak here, and then poison this Articuno, and then we'll just tackle for 30. So that is at least a good start. Well, not a good start, but you know, it's something. If we could have gotten there a little earlier in the game, I think we'd be in a much better position here. We see this Misty come down. Hopefully they just immediately hit tails. We just need a little bit of luck going our way, and they do. So no energy attachment from that Misty here, thankfully. They are going to red card us. That's okay because our hand was pretty bad. Maybe we can finally find a Kadabra or a Research, but no, just another bad hand. So our Weezing is going to get blizzarded here, and I'm not sure there's any way for us to win this game now. We are in a pretty tough spot. The Koga does nothing because we don't have another benched Weezing. Yeah, this is just going to be a concede here, sadly. All right, we will go into another game. Pretty tough start there, and that's one of the difficult things about the current format in TCG Pocket. There's not a lot of draw, there's not a lot of search. Obviously, that's part of one of the appeals of Pocket is it's a little bit slower of a game, but sometimes if you just have that rough start, there's not really a way to come back. So we'll jump into another game here, see if we can have a little bit better start against this opponent. And we'll see, we are going first this game. That means no turn 1 energy attachment, but since we are an evolution deck, we don't mind that too much. We're going to start the coughing here. We have 2 Abras, a Kadabra, and Koga in hand. And we'll see what we're able to do against our opponent's Mewtwo EX deck. Obviously, we are Dark type, so our opponent is weak to our Weezings. That's good. That's going to mean we're doing a little bit of extra damage against our opponent's Mewtwo's. Get our Abras down here, and we'll end our turn. We do have a Psychic energy attachment, sadly, coming up on the following turn, not a Dark type energy attachment, so that's going to mean we cannot attack with the coughing, or if we top deck a Weezing. So we're just going to attach to one of our Abras and evolve into Kadabra, and then we'll see what our opponent is able to put together on their turn. Looks like they're playing the Gardevoir Mewtwo deck, which is one of my favorite decks in TCG Pocket right now. We do get the Professor's Research, so we're going to play that right away, see what we can pull off of this. We do get the Weezing, so we are going to be able to poison our opponent here. That's really good. And we have the Dark type energy attachment coming up next turn. It would be nice to be able to tackle this turn, but that is fine. We also have the Koga in hand to scoop up this Weezing if our opponent starts to do some damage to it as well. The nice thing is, aside from our opponent playing a Giovanni, we can tank 2 hits from the Mewtwo's Psychic Sphere attack, but we're going to have to be careful of getting Giovanni'd. So we'll see what our opponent does here, but we may end up having to Koga this turn. Yep, and they play the Giovanni. Not the wisest move on their part. I think it would have been better to Psychic Spear here for 50 and then Giovanni next turn. Try to sort of bait me into not playing the Koga, because now I definitely am playing the Koga. So we got to protect ourselves here. We do draw into that Alakazam as well. That is really good for us. And then we're going to Koga here. Pick up that Weezing. We're going to put our coughing active that can evolve back into that Weezing, and that really just shows the power of this Weezing Koga interaction. Our opponent's still poisoned, so we don't need to use that Gas Leak ability, but we will tackle here for 50 with that weakness on the Mewtwo EX, and then an additional 10 coming down from that poison. That means we are going to be able to knock out our opponent next turn between the poison and our damage that we're going to be able to deal on the following turn. Our opponent has not evolved into Curlia yet, so that means, all right, they did get the potion, so that makes things a little bit more difficult for us because we're not going to be knocking out next turn necessarily. I have a Jinx. Can they start evolving this Ralts up? That'll be the question. But we will start getting energy attachments down onto our Alakazam next turn. Retreating out of that Mewtwo to try to protect it. So that saves us from getting any damage this turn, which is nice. All right, we're going to poison this Jinx. We got the research. We're dealing 50 to the Jinx, 60 with poison. Okay. So we're going to attach here to Alakazam, and then we're going to research. Save our Giovanni for later. There doesn't really solve any math right now for us. We did draw into another Koga, which is really good. And we're just going to tackle here onto this Jinx for 50. That'll take another 10 from the poison. And we'll see what our opponent does on this turn. But slowly and steadily, we are powering up this Alakazam on our bench, which is really nice. They're trying to heal off some of that damage on their Mewtwo, and then they are charging that up. So they're kind of giving this Jinx to us as a sacrificial lamb here. We do find another Weezing as well, which is really good. And we are just gonna end this turn with a knockout on this Jinx. We have taken our first prize or gotten our first point, as they are called in TCG Pocket, and we will see what we can do against our opponent's Mewtwo EX. I do think we're going to be in a pretty good spot here. We'll be able to poison it and then attack into it with Alakazam if we wanted to, depending on what math sort of works out here. They are attaching the full 4 energy, so they are going to be able to take the knockout on our Weezing. Since they've done that, that means our psychic attack would do, just gotta check some math, 60 plus 60. Oh, we're doing enough with psychic to take a knockout on their Mewtwo. So we are going to win this game on this turn. So we're going to just attack with Psychic for 120, take our final 2 prizes with the Weezing Alakazam deck here. So this is a really strong deck. Not the strongest deck probably in the format. Obviously something like the Pikachu EX Zapdos deck is very strong as well. But I do find this deck to be a lot of fun, and if you're someone who is a big fan of Weezing or Alakazam, this might be a fun deck for you to try out. We'll jump into one more game here and see what we can do. But yeah, I find this deck to be a lot of fun to play. Utilizing the Weezing, poisoning, doing that extra damage with the poison, and then being able to just attack for 30 for 1 dark energy, and then be able to heal off, sort of tank and heal damage as well with the Weezing, and that Koga is really strong. So we start off with a Coughing and Weezing just straight in hand. We're going to be going second, so we are attaching that dark energy for turn right away, and we do have a research to keep setting up. So pretty good turn 1, I think, that we're going to have here. And we are going to be playing against this Pikachu EX Zapdos EX deck. Very strong deck in this format on TCG Pocket. Probably the strongest deck in format. So we'll see if we're able to overcome it with our Weezing deck. All right, we have a pretty good hand here. Depends on if our opponent red cards us. I would love to get an Aberdown, so we are going to research here, see what we can draw into. Those weren't very good, unfortunately, but we do have our Weezing for next turn. We're getting some damage on the Zapdos EX, can't complain there. Our opponent has 2 Voltorbs down and that Pikachu EX. It looks like they're going to just start working on powering up that Circle Circuit attack on the Pikachu. So we are going to evolve into Weezing here. So we're going to be doing 30 plus poison. So we're Gas Leak on the Zapdos. And I think we just have to attack because we don't have anything else to attach to. We will just attach that energy in case retreating ever comes up. Obviously we have the Kogas, so we don't necessarily usually have to retreat out of our Weezings, but we'll see what our opponent's able to do here. We're definitely going to get a Circle Circuit coming down from our opponent with that Pikachu EX. We see that X speed coming down to free retreat out of that Zapdos EX. That heals it of that poison, and then we're going to get that Circle Circuit attack from our opponent with that Pikachu EX doing 90 to our Weezing. The question is, can we draw into another basic Pokemon? Sadly, it looks like we cannot. So is there anything we can do? We try to Sabrina stall, but they can just, all of their bench Pokemon have free retreat. So sadly, that is a concession for us. And once again, we had a pretty good starting hand, just couldn't find any more basic Pokemon. And between playing Professor's Research, having 2 Pokeballs in the deck, that was just an unfortunate way to go there in that game. So let's jump in to one more game here and see what we're able to do. Excuse me. So as you can see, you can end up with a little bit slower starts with the Weezing deck. We were actually in a pretty good position there. If we'd been able to find another Weezing, we could have just Koga'd, as our opponent was only doing 90 to our Weezings, and we could have sort of jumped between 2 different Weezings, and we would have won that game that way if we'd just been able to find another Coughing. So our opponent going first here, it looks like they are playing Charizard EX, so we'll see how we're able to do against this. We have an okay starting hand. We have Abra, Kadabra in hand to evolve it on the following turn, a Professor's Research to draw some additional cards, so maybe we can find a Coughing here. Draw into the Alakazam as well. So pretty good hand here as long as we're able to have time to evolve up. That Research not getting us much there, sadly. So it may just be evolving, over the course of 3 turns up into this Alakazam. Having a tough time with draws here today, but sometimes that happens on TCG Pocket. Not a lot of ball search in the game, that's for sure. Right now, that's one thing I would like to see. Maybe just a supporter that can find us some evolution Pokemon or something like that. We get a Weezing. That's not going to do us any good, but we can evolve here up into the Kadabra. We'll attach another energy. No Psychic Energy yet coming from that energy zone, so that's putting us in a tough spot. Next turn we're going to get another Dark Energy, so we're not going to be attacking with that Alakazam. So hopefully we can get something going here. We are going to be really low on HP here as well with that Rapidash coming down. We do get a Pokeball. Can this find us a Coughing? Please find us a Coughing. Finds us another Abra. Alright, so we are going to bench that Abra, attach the active Kadabra, retreat into the Abra here, evolve, and just pass here. Let's see what our opponent does. Sabrina to bring back up our Alakazam. Attach that Charmeleon. And we're just going to get Firemanned here for 40. We do have 30 HP left. We are going to be able to take a knockout here with Alakazam, but would really love to draw into a Coughing off of this Research here. We do draw into 2 Coughings because that Pokeball is going to find us a Coughing. That's nice. Alright. We attach the Psychic Energy here for turn, and we're going to Psychic for 90. Not quite enough, but we can poison this Rapidash next turn with our Coughing, or sorry, with our Weezing. But yeah, this game off to a tough start as well. Not the best showing for the Alakazam Weezing deck today, but usually it has been running better for me. All right, fully powered up Charmeleon here. Fire Main gonna knock out our Alakazam, our opponent taking that first prize. And we are going to take a prize of our own, however, this turn by poisoning with the Weezing. We have 2 Weezings now. Unfortunately, it looks like all of our Psychic Energy is coming out to play now when we don't necessarily want it to. But we'll evolve up here, and we'll just Gas Leak to poison that Rapidash. We'll take the prize on that Rapidash and end our turn here. So powering up that Abra in the back. Hopefully we can draw into a Kadabra here soon. Looks like we have 4 cards left in deck, so pretty good odds of drawing into Kadabra. Both our research are down, but we have 1 Kadabra in those 4 cards. So if we can top deck the Kadabra, that would be really nice. Our opponent is going to use this Inferno Dance, and we'll see how many fire energies they're able to attach by flipping these 3 coins. How many heads are they going to be able to get here? Hopefully 3 tails. Nope, 1 heads, 2 heads. All right, 2 heads. So those fire energies come down onto that Charmeleon. We did top deck the Kadabra though. That definitely helps us out quite a bit. However, we are not finding our dark energies. So we're just going to Gas Leak here, poison this Moltres, and see what happens. End turn here. The nice thing is they are loading up a lot of energies on that Charmeleon, so when their Charizard EX comes down, obviously it does discard some energy for that attack that it does, but that means they're going to have a lot of energy on it, so our Alakazam is going to be doing more damage. If they attach the 6th energy to it, I still don't know if that's enough for us to knock it out. I think it is. They're going to have 4 energy attached. Crimson Storm does 200, knocks out our Weezing. But I think we have the response KO here with our Alakazam in hand. So we're going to send up the Kadabra. Evolve into Alakazam. Attach Psychic Energy. And is this doing 180? Yes, it is. Psychic going to knock out our opponent's Charizard EX, and that takes our final 2 prize cards to win the game. So you can see there some of the power of that Alakazam EX when you're going up against these other bigger EX cards. They're forced to attach a bunch of energy, and then you can hit for a lot higher numbers with this Alakazam. So we had a tough showing in some of the games where we had a little bit of a slow start, but we were able to come back there against that Charizard EX deck and win. So hopefully this video helped you out to figure out how you might want to play Alakazam Weezing. Take this deck list, change 1 or 2 cards here or there if you feel like there might be something better to play in the list, but certainly this was a lot of fun to play, and hopefully this video showed you or gave you some ideas of what to play in TCG Pocket now that it has released worldwide. So if you did like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.